We're already off to a very good start to this arc of Durarara, and a very good start to this day of anime, because this episode, on point, as per usual, of Durarara X2-10. So, this episode, we get a lot more backstory to Ruri as a character. And I remember in the last season, in, the original X2 Shu, I think that was the proper title, I remember in that season, there was hints that she was a monster, a serial killer and stuff like that. There was a lot of hints to that, but it was never really classified completely. Like, we didn't find out everything about that. And with this episode, we finally get a lot of clarification to Ruri as a person, kind of hints at what she really is, and also what this arc is going to really be about. So, there's many things taking place in this episode. Like, there's, 3 different plot points, as you can see, building up after this episode. Now, one is not really that obvious, the second is kind of obvious, and then the third one is just right in our face this entire episode. So, let's talk about the unobvious plot point building up in this episode. Obviously, if you looked close enough, there was one scene in particular when it came to this episode that focused on Isaiah, and he was walking around smiling and all that, and he didn't really have much of a presence when it came to this episode, but he was in this episode, and clearly there was something going on with him walking about, and so that is obviously a plot point for some form of future arc in Durarara. If I had to say, most likely that's probably going to be set up for the ending part of this season. But besides that, when moving into the next one that was building up the second point, was also seeing Kita, what's going on with him, and getting to see how he was asking Shizuo for forgiveness, like, what I've done, please forgive me, I was the one that started all these problems, and Shizuo was like, I forgive you, don't worry about this, and he flicked him in the fucking face, and he flipped around and fell onto the ground, which was pretty fucking fun. He just goes to show you how strong Shizuo is. I mean, just a flick caused it to where Kita was flipping around like he was flailing around like a ragdoll and hit the ground. Just shows you, man, how strong that man is. Those two were not the very obvious plot points of the episode, so there's really not that much information about them besides setup, and that's probably going to be saved for future portions of Season 3 of Durarara. So let's talk about the main beef of the episode. So, Ruri is the main focus of what this arc is currently about. So, this arc did not finish with this episode. It's still ongoing, and it's still building up, and next week's episode might be a conclusion to this arc, judging by the way it's going, because at the end of this episode, I got a little bit pissed. I got a little bit pissed, because when I see this dude break into Shinra's apartment, and start beating the fuck out of him, I'm like, bro, this is a doctor. This is an underground doctor, okay? This is a dude that would fix your ass if you were to get shot by the mafia or some bad shit goes down in this city. He's the dude that's an underground doctor that will work on you. And when you're beating the fuck out of him, this dude is going to kill your ass, okay? Like, later on down the road, maybe months down the road after you're done beating the shit out of him, and maybe you're not in jail for some whatever reason, or not dead after what you're doing now, thanks to Shinra, he's gonna kill your ass. He's gonna kill you. So, we just need to consider this right now. Like, when I saw this ending, I was really fucking angry because, I mean, like, Shinra's a good character. I like him as a character, and just to see how this dude walks in and just start welling on his fucking face, episode ends, I'm like, Durarara, why do you do this? Like, why do you give me a cliffhanger? Which, I understand, cliffhangers are there for us to watch, the next episode. I understand that, but, I mean, why do you give me a fucking cliffhanger like that? I'm gonna watch the damn episode. I'm gonna watch next week's episode. Don't worry about that, but why do you give me a cliffhanger like that? Just seeing Shinra getting his face knocked in. I'm like, that's not nice. That's really not nice at all. And to see the backstory also to Ruri and why she's being stalked and how this stalker got information and also how she's like a product and being experimented on and being used as a toy, it just goes to show you what life she has lived and what life she is currently living, and it explains her mentality as a person from what we saw in the last season, because there was a lot of questions about her character I had, and after witnessing what I witnessed in this episode, a lot of questions I had got answered, and so I am happy about that. So when it comes to clarifying a lot for anime only such as myself, this was a very good episode, a very well executed episode when it came to Rudy's character and explaining her so much more. Now, besides that, the episode That's about it. I mean, episode very good, though. I mean, individual build-up scenes throughout this episode with Ruri, with, the stalker picture and different things like that. Holy shit, very good. And I feel like this is why I love Durarara so much. It knows how to have an atmosphere about it. An atmosphere that really just drags you in, that doesn't let you go. And it's strange how it manages to do something like this with the wackiness of the series, because the series is kind of wacky, and to see how it can drag you in and give you these serious vibes like, holy shit, shit's going down, it's crazy. But, I mean, that's the charm of Durarara. So tell me your thoughts. I mean, how do you all feel about this week's episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? How do you feel about what happened to Shinra at the end of the episode? How do you feel about what's going on with the other plot points taking place in this episode? You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.